Is the old fashioned still as good as it once was? I don't know. Let's make 3 old fashions and see what they're like. Three drinks that I think sum up what an old fashioned is all about. They were invented in the late 1800s in the Pendennis Club. At the time, it was, the word cocktail, I should say, was pretty much just 4 things. So a cocktail back then was spirit, sweet, bitters and water, which you'll see throughout the video is very, very similar to, well, every old fashioned that you see these days. Let's start right at the beginning. That first old fashioned in the Pendennis Club. Let's make a classic old fashioned. I'm doing it as it would have been done back in the day. Some bars will still make it like this. I'm not against it, but for me there's improvements, but I think it's a great starting point. I'm going to be quite lazy today as well. I'm going to make everything in the glass. It's just for me at the end of the day. I'm tasting. If I was making it for a big number of people, the mixing glass would be out, and for the second and third cocktails we make today, don't make it just in the glass. If you're making it for people, mix in glass, dilution, and then pour in, but we'll go through that as and when. This one, however, regardless of who you're making it for, I would recommend making it in the glass. Start off with just 1 sugar cube, and to that you're going to get some Angostura bitters and add a couple of dashes. I'm going to go for about 3 or 4. I love the flavour of Angostura bitters, and I think it adds quite a lot to the drink. You might be thinking straight away, it's not going to work, it's not going to dilute. Why is there a sugar cube in the bottom of the cocktail? And to be honest, you'd all be correct. It's not going to dilute properly. Slightly thicker than milk, but thinner than grout. You're going to add your whiskey. So the old fashioned cocktail was actually made with a range of different base spirits, whether it be whiskey, rye or bourbon, or even gins and brandies. I love a brandy old fashioned, but today I want to keep it classic, and for me, a good spicy rye whiskey is the way to go. If you like a sweeter drink, feel free to crack open the bourbon. So yeah, as I said, Sazerac rye I'm going with, and we're going to do 60 millilitres or 2 ounces if you're from the States and you don't use the metric system still. Now I've not added any ice thus far, and it's because I'm going to give this a quick stir without. Just want to try and give the sugar as much chance as possible to dissolve. To this I'm just going to add a few cubes of ice. I'm doing it rough and ready, no clear ice in this one. I'm keeping it rustic. I'm just going to stir this down. And try and keep some of the ice in the glass. You want to stir this for maybe 20 to 30 seconds. Garnish. Traditionally, an old fashioned calls for some citrus peel. I've seen people do lemon peel, orange peel, I've even seen grapefruit peel as well. They all work well, but I read an article doing a little bit of research that nutmeg is used, or used to be used to garnish an old fashioned, and I've never seen that before. I've never used nutmeg to garnish an old fashioned, so the oranges can wait for now. Got the nutmeg here. I'm just going to give this a little grate on top. So there you go, the classic old fashioned. Let's give it a go. So straight away, so much nutmeg because I've put so much nutmeg on. I like a more citrus note on the nose with the orange peel traditionally, so it doesn't instinctively smell like an old fashioned to me. Okay, so that's really nice. The sugar and bitters have definitely incorporated properly into the whiskey. I was slightly worried about the paste. I tend to use simple syrup or maple or agave, depends on the cocktail I'm making, but it's incorporated relatively well. There's still some at the base of the glass, and one of the treats, I suppose, of this style of making the drink is as the drink progresses and you drink more and more of it, you end up with this more sugary hit right at the end. It's definitely a tasty old fashioned. I'd recommend, if you've never made one of these before, give it a go. Would I pick the nutmeg over the orange? No, it doesn't do it for me. But yeah, really good cocktail. Yeah. Cheers. So yeah, the classic old fashioned, really nice, really tasty. But I'm a bit more excited about the next one. The next one is a drink that builds on this one slightly, doesn't change too much, but I think it refines it to the next level. I'm hoping anyway. I've not had the next cocktail for about 6 or 7 years, and it was actually my entry into enjoying old fashions and cocktails as a whole. So yeah, let's make a maple old fashioned. So the maple old fashioned is, as I said, the first cocktail that I really loved and enjoyed. I think this could be the great entry cocktail for people who haven't tried old fashions yet or don't really like spirit forward bevies too much, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to be drinking these and then jumping into a gin martini. There's levels and you've got to get there slowly. But this is a nice, booze forward, still sweet, enjoyable cocktail, or at least it was when I last had it. Chilled rocks glass in hand. As I said earlier, if I was making this for more than just me, you'd stir it in a mixing glass and then pour it into the glass you're going to serve it in. There's no point in me doing that. I'm going to just enjoy it as is, and I'm actually going to just keep it dirty, keep it simple, and trust me, you'll enjoy it. So, first things first, as with many old fashions, following the template, I'm going to go in with some Angostura bitters. So again, 2 dashes would be fine. I'm going to go 3 or 4 just because I like to actually taste the bitters as a key component rather than just the seasoning. I'm going to be a bit cheeky and I'm going to use just some shop bought cheap maple syrup. The reason being is that when I had it a few years ago, the quality of the bar that I was enjoying it at wouldn't have used any of the good like barrel aged maple syrups. So I'm just going to be a bit dirty as well. If you want to go out on a big budget and make this a bit more bougie, get a nice maple syrup. I mean, this might be gorgeous, but it might not be. I'm just going to, only a small amount, add 7.5 ml, or 1/4 ounce for you Americans, and I think there's 2 other countries that use the Imperial as well still. I don't know. For this one, I'm not going to be using the rye whiskey. I want less spice. I want to really accentuate the sweetness of this drink. It's been a long time since I've had Woodford, so I'm going to use Woodford Reserve. Tell you what, this is a good tamper seal. Oh, it's embarrassing there. This tamper seal's ferocious. You might notice that the glass is warming up. Hey! Once you've got your tamper seal off, you can enjoy the whiskey. Just like the classic old fashioned, I'm going to go for 2 ounces of the bourbon whiskey, or 60 ml. A larger rock. Just place that in carefully. Give this a nice stir for around 20 to 30 seconds. That is good. And to this, we're not going for the nutmeg. I didn't really enjoy the nutmeg experiment, so we're just going to go for a nice orange peel. It's a juicy one. Quite a large one, and all you're going to do is express the oils over the drink. Just give it a little squeeze. This adds all an extra layer to the drink. And then once you've done that, pop it in, and there you have it, a maple old fashioned. Let's give it a try. Okay, it's not too sweet for me. It's on the sweeter side. It's definitely sweeter than the rye. But yeah, that is actually, it's actually quite tasty. Yeah, that's annoying. I thought my palate would have progressed quite a bit over the last decade. Turns out I still like the exact same cocktails. I'm nothing if not consistent. It's tasty. On to the next one. The third and final cocktail I'm going to be making today is the Oaxaca Old Fashioned. What I'd say about this one is it takes the concepts that we've learned, the same 4 ingredients pretty much, and takes them to a new level. I did say I wasn't going to use a mixing glass, but I'm a lying bastard because I just can't disrespect this. So I'm using a mixing glass. And to the mixing glass, we're going to add, once again, a few dashes of Anglo bitters. We're going to use some agave, which is 7.5 ml or 1/4 ounce. We're using the Reposado today, as that is what was used in Death & Co. in 2008 when Phil Ward first invented this drink. They used Tesoro tequila at the time, Tesoro Reposado. I'm using Casamigos, which is going to make this drink inherently sweeter. I'm actually going to add another dash of Ango, just to try and balance out that sweetness a touch. So, to that we're going to add 45ml or an ounce and a half of your Reposado tequila. Finally, we're going to add a half ounce or 15ml of your preferred mezcal. The reason I'm using Del Maguey is because it was the drink that was in Death & Co. and I've bought many a bottle of this since reading the book a long time ago now. But if you don't have any Del Maguey, and mine's actually a bit dirty, it's been dropped about, Maggie's in the mud. Pensador is a fantastic mezcal, easily accessible in the UK. But yeah, either or will be brilliant. Vida in this case, delicious. Ice to the mixing glass, ice, and give it a stir. Once you've got your chilled old fashioned glass, strain that in. I always like to do this first. Obviously a lot of the photography I do, you've got the splashes and the action shots. If you're making a drink to not spill everywhere, it's always good to just strain that in first. And then very quickly add your nice cube. And we are going to flame a nice orange peel. This peel looks a lot better. Match in hand, you're going to just slightly heat the peel. These have been in the fridge, which isn't always the best place to keep your citrus, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of a gentle heat. And then through the flame, you're just going to give it a little spritz to caramelise those oils. And yeah, you're just going to try and not burn yourself, but that looks good. And then don't waste your peel. Give that a nice wipe around the edge of the glass. Garnished, delicious, enjoy. It's the Oaxaca Old Fashioned. Okay, so I'm quite glad that this is the favourite of the three. The mezcal especially adds this sort of briny salinity to it. What you do gain in the earthiness, you lack slightly in the spice. I tried to add an additional dash or two of the Ango bitters, especially because the Casamigos Reposado is going to be a lot sweeter. It's going to have a lot more additives than the Tesoro Reposado that was used in Death & Company. So yeah, play around with it, play around what you've got. It'd be very interesting to see how the Pensador compares to the Miguel Vida. This is the Ensemble, and it's a really tasty mezcal. I feel like it's got a touch more smokiness than the Vida. So it'd be interesting to see how it plays, especially with the flamed orange oils, rubbing the citrus around the glass. What can I say? It's a delicious drink, definitely my favourite of the three. So there we have it, the Oaxaca Old Fashioned, delicious. So there we go, we've made 3 really tasty Old Fashions. Later on this week, I'm going to try and step it up a little bit more. We're going to try a nice split base and see how that goes. We'll see. It might be really good, it might be really bad. Pop along to the channel on Friday and you'll be able to see that cocktail go live. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the page, feel free to drop a like. If you want to see some more content from me, you can always subscribe and head over to Instagram at Speakeasy UK if you want to see more content on a daily basis. It's been a pleasure, and I'll speak to you next time. Cheers!